when I stepped on the jiu-jitsu mats, I just got mopped up. And so my motivation was more of, I want to learn how to fuck these fools up. I want to learn this game so I could do it to other people, you know? And then from there, I just got hooked, man. It just kept getting deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole.
His second day in Vietnam, how are you feeling today?
Dude, I'm having a blast. Saigon's a really great time, killer food, just all kinds of incredible experiences. I'm only 2 days in and I'm having an incredible journey out here.
Yeah, I caught some of your seminar. I wasn't able to just look at everything, but your attention to detail and the physics and how you bring in like the muscles and the extension is on a level that I didn't know existed. How you approach thinking about jujitsu.
Bro, I'm just a nerd, man. I'm obsessed with jujitsu, and I just try to think of it inside and out, right? So like, my dad always growing up, like it was like, for example, like he would ask me a math question, right? And I'd give him an answer. But then he would want me to explain how I got that answer, right? And I think that kind of followed me through with into my jujitsu where it's like, okay, I don't want to just know how to do a move. I want to know what is it doing to my opponent? Like, what am I damaging? Am I tearing a ligament? Am I breaking a bone? And then I want to break it down even further and I want to make all those minor changes is like, is my grip better here? Is it higher here? Should I switch it? And just kind of playing with that, I think over the last, 15 years plus, I just spent so many hours taking into each of those positions and trying to find those answers, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Looking at your story, looking at Eddie's story, Eddie didn't never he tried to do music and never thought that he would have such a big impact in jiu-jitsu, and you probably didn't either when you first started. Can you share with us why you started jiu-jitsu and what the impact that's made on your life and why you have your gym today?
Man, so my story of how I got into jujitsu is probably a little different than most. I was a firefighter. I was going through fire academy and I was going in EMT school. And one day, one of the guys was like, "Hey, do you want to try this cage fighting thing?" And I was like, kind of like a knucklehead, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm down. I'm not scared. Yeah, I'll hold this. I'm not scared, so I'll give it a try." And I showed up to this gym, and it wasn't even really a gym. We were in a storage unit, and basically, my instructor was a purple belt, and we just kind of started in there. And I remember I had already been in some scuffles growing up in high school and stuff like that, and I did fairly well. But when I stepped on the jujitsu mats, I just got mopped up. And so my motivation was more of, I want to learn how to fuck these fools up. I want to learn this game so I could do it to other people, you know? And then from there, I just got hooked, man. It just kept getting deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole. And I never thought that jujitsu would be my career. I just kept doing it, And in my era, when I started, jujitsu really wasn't, uh, jujitsu really wasn't a career option, right? It was just a hobby, right? Like most people didn't even know what jujitsu was, specifically Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Try to explain that to people 15 years ago. They had no idea what it was. So I just feel like pursue things in life that make you happy. In my case, it's jujitsu. Don't worry about the money and all the other aspects. You'll live a fulfilling life and all the rest of it will kind of fall into place. That's kind of been my experience with where I started and how I got to where I am today.
Yeah, for sure. As one of the most influential coaches in the world and with a lot of students in California, what are some of the more special moments you've had with your students as a coach, seeing them grow up, seeing them in competition?
You know what? It's a series of things. Obviously, when we had our first world champion, that was really powerful for me, obviously selfishly, and seeing that, our systems work and the things that we were working on, we got to see them work and produce our first world champion. But even in that sense, my happiness really wasn't necessarily it was for Eric winning, but it was also seeing my student and all that he overcome and all that he grew to achieve that goal, right? And that was kind of a moment where, I don't think he really thought he could be a world champion. And he was. I always saw it in him. And that's the thing where I see a lot in a lot of people and they just don't know what they're capable of. And so for me, in the competition scene or even outside of, you take some guy who was maybe, a guy that got bullied and maybe he was a little nerdy growing up, and then you give him the confidence to like walk differently through life as a martial artist. That's really fulfilling. Seeing it in the competition where you see a guy that to the next level, he goes and says, "Okay, I'm going to test myself against the best in the world to see how I hang." And then next thing you know, you build someone to become a champion. That's really fulfilling. Seeing it in the competition where you see a guy that to the next level, he goes and says, "Okay, I'm going to test myself against the best in the world to see how I hang." And then next thing you know, you build someone to become a champion. it's the same philosophy. It's like, I love seeing people where they start, where they grow, and I like just following their journey and being a part of it.
That's fantastic. And for those for those grapplers who kind of want to start a gym, want to start a career in as a grappling coach, what advice do you have to those guys?
Ooh. If you wanted to start, like, just make sure you're doing it for the right reason. The reasoning is everything. Like I was saying, is like, as long as you love what you're doing, the money will come, right? I think some people get into jujitsu just thinking about the money because that exists now. But when I started, like I was saying, there was no money in jujitsu. Like, no one ever thought that you can open up a gym. Most guys that open up gyms, they were like part-time cops, and then after work they would come in and run a gym, or they were firefighters, or they had other kinds of construction. They had other jobs to actually put food on the table. Now jujitsu's got money in it, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. But if you don't have your heart in the right place, your students will know, your gym will know. The best business advice I could tell anybody is culture over anything, right? You got to really want to be there. And I could see that between other gyms. Like, you see when their coach doesn't show up to tournaments, he's not there actually engaging into the match and like watching their rounds and giving them constructive criticism. He just teaches a move and he's out. And it's like, that's never going to make it, man. You got to live with passion, live with fire, and love the art. If you love the art, everything's going to work out.
Awesome, thank you. And last question: you've been here in Vietnam for 1 or 2 days. You've seen the Saigon grappling community. What are your thoughts and any words of wisdom on guidance for our Saigon grappling community that has all these different gyms working together in an under-resourced environment?
Yeah, for me, like, I think you guys are one step ahead, right? You think about America back in the day, and there was no cross training, right? Like, if you cross trained, you were called a crayonch, you know? And so you only got to work inside your circle where you saw the same rules and saw the same technique. And you guys are kind of one step ahead, that you guys are working together. And that's really the secret. So like, if I think about like a lot of my progress, I was blessed that my coach, Denny, was a big fan of cross training. He had established really good friendships with Coyote Association or Jake Shields and the whole Gracie Fighter crew over there. And we got to train with each other, and we got to help give them a little of our style and them give us a little bit of their style. And that's just going to forward progress jujitsu as a whole. Right. And so I think that you guys are one step ahead. You guys got a really cool group here. I think everybody, is coming in with a really good mindset and trying to learn. And I think you guys are on the right track. I think you guys are like a couple years behind where America is, but I think it's just a matter of time. No, I don't think it's that long. I think it's, you know what? We build it and they will come. You keep building what you guys are doing here, and you're going to build your own champions. You guys are going to figure out your own stuff, and it's just going to continue to grow.
Awesome. Anything else you'd like to share with us, Michael?
Nah, man, thank you for having me out. For those of you guys that are watching this and you want to come out to Vietnam, highly recommend it. Food's amazing. Jiu-jitsu is great. People are great. You can't go wrong.
Michael, hey, thank you so much.